Hey guys, I'm Chico from Chico Study Corner and I'll be dealing with the part 2 of surface chemistry. So now first we have to learn about what is the two types of adsorptions. So without any further ado, let's get into the chapter. So if you're watching this part as the beginning, please make sure you watch the previous part and then continue watching the chapter because that is a continuation. So let's see. So the first topic that we have to learn is what is adsorption. So now adsorption are two based on the type of the adsorbent and the adsorbate or the intermolecular forces between the adsorbent and the adsorbate. So adsorption is divided into two, that is the first one is physisorption, the second one is chemisorption. So from the name you might have understood something. Physi stands for physical and chemi stands for chemical. So let's learn about these two in detail. So the first point we have to discuss over here is the force, about the force. So the intermolecular force is weak van der Waals. Let's represent this van der Waals force. So here it's weak, that is the main point. And for chemisorption it is strong chemical bonds. Okay. So the second point that we have to learn is about the adsorption enthalpy. So for physisorption they have weak intermolecular forces. So it's easier, or the delta H, that is the enthalpy value, is lower. It can dissociate faster. So that can adsorb faster. So that the range of delta H or the enthalpy value is ranging from 20 to 40 kilojoule per mole. Okay, and over here in this case delta H, not hydration enthalpy, that is the enthalpy of adsorption, that is equal to 80 to 240 kilojoule per mole. All these are approximate values. Okay. So next, to talk about physisorption. Physisorption is reversible. Okay, it's reversible, whereas chemisorption is not reversible. And also physisorption attains equilibrium faster. So let's write that point. So to talk about in the chemisorption, you know it forms chemical bonds. Chemical bonds are not, they are not reversible actually. So over here it's reversible. Over here it's irreversible. Why is this? Because of the bond formation. Okay, and also it attains equilibrium faster. According to Le Chatelier's principle, what happens? When the reaction proceeds in the direction where there is lower number of moles, or lower number of moles in the reaction. For example, let's take solid plus gas gives what? It can be either solid. Now let's extend this for the time being. Solid / gas, any of them, plus let's give H2O. Okay, if this is the case, now we know that over here there is 2 moles. 1 mole of solid, 1 mole of gas. Over here we only have 1 mole. Okay, so what did we know? We know according to Le Chatelier's principle, this would happen from this direction to this direction where there's a lesser number of moles. So the next point that we have to learn is about the layer formation. So for physics option it forms multimolecular layers, okay? Whereas for chemies option it is monomolecular layers, okay? So this is the next difference or the next point that we have to learn. Now we are going to learn about the effective temperature. So temperature is the next topic. So effective temperature. So we have to discuss both about physics option and about chemies option. So to talk about physics option, we learned physics option is a reversible process. It's a reversible adsorption, and secondly we learned that equilibrium is attained quickly. So these 2 points, according to this, what did we learn? And we also learned that why is it that it attains equilibrium faster and the reaction is very quick? It is because according to Le Chatelier's principle, what did we learn? As pressure increases, what would happen? The adsorption would also increase. So I told you an example before. I told you a solid plus gas would give to a solid alone or a gas alone. So there is 2 moles and it's compressed to 1 mole, the rate of adsorption. So over here for physics option, we know as temperature increases, what would happen? The reaction would proceed in the side of the endothermic reaction, okay? It will proceed in the side of the endothermic reaction. So since the temperature, when temperature increases, what happens? I told you, there is a decrease in adsorption. So let's make it, this is the extent of adsorption and this is the temperature. So let's plot the graph. The graph would be like this. So this is the case of what? Physics option. So let's see the case of chemies option. So for chemies option, so over here what happens is, first there is, when temperature increases, there is an increase in what? Adsorption, and later it decreases, okay? So I'll tell you it in detail. Why does it increases? Because when there is more temperature given, the activation energy increases, which results in the bond formation. Like to an extent the temperature increases and the bonds are formed. After a particular extent, when the temperature is too high, what happens here is desorption happens. The adsorbed molecules get desorbed, and then what will happen? The graph would look like this. This is the extent of adsorption. This is the temperature. The graph looks like this. Okay? So this is to talk about the temperature, the change in temperature, how the effective temperature on adsorption, both physics option and chemies option. So the next point that we have to learn about, so under physics option, now we have to change the heading. That's not temperature anymore. So under physics option, what should we learn next? Here when there is highly liquefiable gases in the atmosphere, what would happen? These highly liquefiable gases, with what? There should be some condition. So high critical temperature, okay, is adsorbed faster. So liquefiable gases, highly liquefiable gases with high critical temperature are adsorbed fast because the van der Waals forces are stronger, are very strong at critical temperatures. So we learned the point over here. The same point is over here also. So over here, the gases that can react with the adsorbent are chemisorbed. Okay? Frontlet adsorption isotherm. So, or it can be asked as isotherms. Okay? So, let's see. So, frontlet adsorption isotherm, it gives it's a graphical representation which gives the relationship between X by M. X by M is the extensive adsorption and P, that's pressure, when temperature is constant. We know that adsorption increases with increase in pressure according to Le Chatelier's principle. So, let's see. So, we'll draw the graph first. So, for pressure, there is three variations of pressure. What is this? One is at low pressure, one is at high pressure, and one is at intermediate pressure. So, let's see at the low pressure first. So, at low pressure, we learn X by M is proportional to P, depends on P. So, what is it? X by M is equal to K, a constant into P. Okay? So, let's draw the graph. We told you frontlet adsorption isotherm is a graphical representation. So, over here this is X by M and over here it's pressure. So, let's see. The graph is like this. It depends on pressure. Now, let's see the case of high pressure. Over here, what happens is independent of the pressure. Over here, what is it? The extent of adsorption is independent of the pressure. So the graph is like this. Now we saw the change of the graph in high pressure and low pressure. Now there is something known as something that is in the middle. If there is something top and bottom, there is something in the middle also. That is the intermediate pressure. So let's see that. So intermediate pressure. So over here, the first case, that was the adsorption dependent on the extent of adsorption was directly proportional to pressure, and the second one was that was not dependent on the pressure, and the third one is it is dependent on the power of pressure, which ranges from 0 to 1. Okay. So over here, at intermediate pressure, the extent of adsorption is dependent on the power of the pressure. That is, the power of the pressure ranges from 0 to 1. So let us see. So over here, we will represent it as X by M is equal to K. We wrote P raised to 1 by N. This is that power which it is dependent on. Okay. Now we have to draw the graph. So we'll draw the graph for intermediate P, intermediate pressure. So let's mark it intermediate pressure. This is the graph. This is X by M and this is pressure. So over here, the value is P raised to 0. Over here it comes as P raised to 0 because it's not dependent. So over here it is P raised to 1. Okay. So this is ranging from 0 to 1 and this region. Okay. And this region is X by M equal to what? P raised to 1 by N. So this is all, I just represent only P raised to 1 by N or P0 and P1 over here. It is not like that. It's a full equation. So now after this graph, what we can conclude? We can conclude an equation from this. Like whatever we take that has a coefficient. So we will make the equation, the Freundlich isotherm equation, adsorption isotherm equation is x by m is equal to k p raised to 1 by n. Okay, so this is the equation. So now we have to, we don't know the value of k and 1 by n. How do you find it out? Let's see. Let's make this, both sides have log in them. So it is log what? X by m is equal to log k into p raised to 1 by n. So this we know it is log k plus log p raised to 1 by n. Yeah? So this is also log. Now log x by m is equal to log k plus, we know this is 1 by n log p. Okay? Now this is in the form of y is equal to mx plus c. Yeah? So this is the y, this is the x. Okay? So now we'll represent the graph to find it out. So we got this equation, no? Just remember this. Okay? I'm just rubbing this so that we can have the equation in the bottom remaining and draw the graph over here. So we are drawing the graph. So we'll start from somewhere here. Okay? So this is our graph. Now we know what is the y-axis. The y-axis is log x by m. And what is the z-axis? Log p. Now we know that what is this log k? Log k is the intercept. So this is over here, it is log k. So this is the intercept. And over here, we will take a slope. What is the slope? The slope is 1 by n. Haven't we found out? If you find out the slope of the graph, you will get the value of 1 by n. Then the intercept is log k. So then find out its value. That's simple as it. So next we will discuss about the factors affecting adsorption of a gas on a solid. So that is what we are going to discuss. So let's write. So this is the factors. So the first factor, that is the nature of gas. So for physics option, what happens is the gas, as I told you, highly liquefiable. So the gases which are highly liquefiable and has high critical temperatures would get adsorbed faster. So for chemisorption, next is chemisorption under the same heading. So for chemisorption, this also we discussed before. So for chemisorption, what happens is the only gases which react or which forms bond would get adsorbed. So formation of bonds or gases that reacts with the what? The adsorbent will only get adsorbed. So now we'll learn about the second factor. So the second one as told is what? Surface area. So as surface area increases, adsorption increases for both what? For both chemisorption and physisorption. Okay, that is to talk about surface area. And also these finely divided or powdered objects, powdered adsorbents would absorb more quantity. Okay, so these finely chopped, the finely powdered adsorbents absorb more of the adsorbate. Okay, now we learn about the third application. So the third application that we have to learn is the effect of pressure. Okay, so let's write. Third one is effect of pressure. So, increase in pressure. We learned before also, in increase in pressure would result in what? Increased rate of adsorption. So, we'll draw a graph. So, let's make the graph. Over here this is x by m, and over here this is the pressure. Okay. So this is the graph at three different temperatures. So this is T1, T2 and T3. So these are the three pressures. So over here this is 273 Kelvin. Over here it is 195 Kelvin. And over here it's 244 Kelvin. So what can we see? We can observe that T1, T2, T3. So T1 is greater than T2 is greater than T3. So this is a conclusion that we observe. What did we learn? As pressure increases, the value also increases. So that is all about to talk about the effective pressure. This is an important point. Please do learn it. So now we have to learn about this point also we discussed, that is the adsorption, the effective temperature, the isobars. Okay. Sorry, the isotherms. So that is also for physisorption. How was it? It was like this. This is for physisorption. And for chemisorption it is like this. So this is the effective temperature. The last point that we're going to learn under the factors is the activation of the adsorbent. So what do you mean by activation of the adsorbent? That is, it increases the absorbing capacity. That is, the absorbing power of the adsorbent is increased. Okay. So there are three methods to do this. The first one is making the surface rough of the adsorbent. How do you make it rough? Either by rubbing or by depositing finely powdered or finely divided metals on top of the surface of the adsorbent. The second way is the powdering. I told you as surface area increases, what will happen? The absorbing power would increase. Okay. So the after powdering there is lot of surface area, so absorbing power also increases. The last one is by strongly heating the adsorbent in the presence of superheated steam, so as to remove the impurities present in it. Okay. So after the removal of impurities, then there is the proper surface, so that all these gaseous molecules around it could be absorbed. Okay. So that is all about the factors. We come to the end of the factors. And now we have something about the applications. So I'll list down the applications and I will give you the detailed notes in my description. Please go download it and read it. So let's see about the applications. So to talk about the applications, the first one is in gas masks. The second one is in metallurgy. In metallurgy itself, there is two places where it is used. One is froth flotation, and the second one is chromatographic purification. So these are the two that comes under metallurgy. Then for curing diseases in the medical industries, then as humidizers, then we learned in the beginning there about silica gel, it is a good absorber, it's found in bottles, etc. So the detailed notes about the application, it's there in the textbook, still I will be giving it in my notes. Please go download it and read it. So we have come to the end of this part also. I hope you might have understood it. This is the second part of surface chemistry. So if you liked my video, please do hit that like button, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and then share my video to your friends. See you all in my next video. Till then, bye-bye.